Hey, Cheyenne. Hey, Sarah Bradshaw. Carmichael Green. Hey, Fitzy. Hey, Hobo. Hey, Bjorn. What it be, what it is, what it was, what it shall be, what it never shall be. Hey, Sarah. No, dude, I am not okay. I'm not okay at all. No, I'm a disaster, man. I'm absolutely a disaster. So Kyiv broke. So first of all, we had power for 6 hours all day today. Friday, July the 12th, 2024, Kyiv had power for 6 hours all day. There's that. Then on top of that, they broke a record here in Kyiv today. The temperature hit 34.5 degrees Celsius, or about 95 degrees. 95 degrees in a city of 4 million people with no air conditioning and no power is not a place for a 300-pound American to be. Oh, dude, it's not good. It's not good. Hey, CyberDoc. Hey, Jay. Hey, Richard Hansen. So, guys, I apologize for running late today. It's entirely my fault. I'm driven by these kinds of circumstances. Hey, CyberDoc. And tomorrow is going to be worse. Tomorrow they are expecting a record high tomorrow of 35 degrees Celsius, which is 95 degrees, just a little over 95 degrees Fahrenheit. No. So it is really, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Then the other thing, of course, Fitz, is that I'm dumb. Timers don't have a snooze button, right? You have to set an alarm to get a snooze button. And I very foolishly set a timer tonight when I went to lie down for a little while before the live. And so I just slept through the opening like an idiot. So for everybody out there who supports me, God bless you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment and your patience. Yeah. You're doing lives, Nightshade. Awesome. Awesome sauce. So, okay. So, guys, my apologies for running late today. Everybody give a big shout out to Ballerina, who is the sponsor of tonight's live. And let's take a look at the news and what is new Friday, July the 12th, day 869 of Vladimir Putin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. I talked yesterday about a U.S. bot farm being disrupted by Canadian and U.S. authorities. And there was a question as to where that bot farm was based. The bot farm was actually based in St. Petersburg. It was at the RT offices, right there under the control of the deputy director of RT International, or International Editorial. And so RT, as an arm, the propaganda arm of the Russian world, nobody should have any doubts that that's exactly what their role is. Tatiana Shevtsova has defected to France. Now, this person is not a good person. This person was one of the defense deputy secretaries under Shoigu, and she's part of the whole Shoigu corruption cabal that is currently being purged from the Russian Defense Ministry. And so she fled to save her own ass from the coming purge. And this person was a tax collector for many years in Russia. And it appears that she stole enough money to buy her way into this position as Deputy Defense Secretary with no military background to speak of, no requirements for the job, right? Just the cronyism and corruption of the Tsar of Ashes. She has fled to France. The French have taken her in. I assume that they're pumping her for information every which way they can. And maybe she'll get asylum. But her fate and the fate of all the rats leaving the sinking ship that is the Kremlin is undetermined at this time. We don't know what's going to become of these people and how many of them are going to find their way into The Hague and how many of them will find their way into The Hague because of her and how she's and what she's doing to sell them out right now and save her own skin. Still no word on the F-16s. And I'll tell you, I've seen some terrible reporting on this. I've seen people say, the F-16s are here. Fuck yeah? Show me. I'm from Missouri. I want to know. I want to see it. I have no evidence to indicate that the status of the F-16s has changed. None. Other maybe than the fact that Kyiv has publicly said it's not going to take the Gripens at this time. Or however you say it, the Saab fighter jets, the Gripens, that the Swedes have. I think it's the Swedes, right? The Swedes. Saab is Swedish. And they've been training Gripen pilots and they've been training Gripen ground crews. But Kyiv is passing on the Gripens until they've got the F-16s integrated. So that's where we're at with F-16s. The ISW are saying that the battlefield is changing. Now, I don't want to make too much of this because we're just about at the point now over the next week where finally all of the U.S. aid that was approved is going to trickle down to everybody on the front line that really actually needs it. And according to the ISW, the Ukrainians are now making limited and localized tactical counterattacks, demonstrating that the grinding positional warfare of the last year is not an indefinitely stable state. So what they're saying is that the Russians have kept advancing slowly, kept grinding away in that grinding positional warfare, and nothing has much moved in the last year. What the ISW is saying, it appears, is that state of conflict is not a permanent state, and it is beginning to break. Now, again, there's no sign of a mass exodus from the front of Russian troops. There's no sign of a big breakthrough coming. But it is changing. And the Ukrainians are beginning to take the momentum back. They've got it, clearly, up in the north in Kharkiv. There's no doubt about that. We're seeing it, too, down around Liman Pershi and around the Serebryansk forest and down headed down toward Bakhmut and Chasiv Yar. So it's coming. And they credit this change with the U.S. weapons, U.S. and allied weapons, that for stabilizing the front line. Again, Ukraine is passing on the Gripens at this time until they get the F-16s integrated. Now, this is very important, and I'm angry at myself because the air raid siren went off when I was filming the video about this. And so I got distracted, Vanetta, right? So I'm speaking specifically to Vanetta here. I got distracted, and I failed to mention the no-fly zone letter that we have. And this is important because I think the two things are connected. I don't know, but it appears to me there's no other reason. At the NATO conference, in a sidebar, Jens Stoltenberg announced the opening of the Aegis Ashore missile defense base in Poland. This is a missile defense base in Poland, NATO, that is designed to intercept short and medium-range ballistic missiles. There's another one in Romania. Now, it's not clear to me if the one in Romania is up and running or if it's about to be. But there's at least two of these Aegis Ashore locations for shooting down short and medium range missiles. NATO says it's completely a defensive fortification, right? It's there to shoot down incoming missiles. It's not a first strike capability kind of place. But dig it. In Poland, you've got thousands of exiled Ukrainian, not exiled, but refugee Ukrainians, who are signing up for this new Polish Foreign Legion, which will be a Ukrainian Foreign Legion based in Poland. Could they man such a base? If they did, could they use it to shoot down incoming Russian missiles and drones? And if there's one in Poland and there's one in Romania, couldn't they provide the no-fly zone protection west of the Dnipro that we are all looking for? Could it be that the only reason we haven't gotten a no-fly zone yet is because they're working to put the infrastructure in place? And once the infrastructure is in place, the people of Ukraine can breathe a little easier, knowing that there's 50 Polish Patriot batteries pointing at the skies over Ukraine. Now, look, I don't know. I don't have any idea. But it's my hope that that's the case. Right, Putin? I'm with you. I'm with you. It is my hope. Thanks, Jer. Thanks for sharing the stream. I sure appreciate it. Denmark is buying Ukraine 18 new Bodana infantry fighting vehicles. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Bodana, isn't that a Ukrainian-made infantry fighting vehicle? Yes, it is. And so the Danes are buying these things from the Ukrainians for the Ukrainians. They'll never see them. What does it do? It stimulates local defense industry production, right? It provides good paying jobs for Ukrainians. It gets the assembly line moving, jumpstarts Ukrainian defense industry again. And there's no transport, there's no overhead of reconditioning. These will be brand new. So PT is telling me that my hopes are in vain about the Aegis because, according to him, and he's our weapons guy, I don't think it has the range to protect Ukrainian airspace. Aegis Ashore is a specific type of defense system. Yeah, that could well be. That was my big question when I was reading the article, and I didn't have a chance, PT, to look at it. So you don't think it's got the range from all the way up there in northern Poland? They'd have to put it down someplace closer. Well, Hartley, this is a very different thing. This is something in Poland, right? It's not in Ukraine. It's not designed to take offensive action against the Russians. Hey, Kijo. Thanks, man. How far is Kyiv from the Polish border? Oh, gosh, it's a long time on the bus, Bobby. As the crow flies, gosh, it's got to be 300 miles, right? or close to it. I don't know. I'd have to put it in Google Maps or something. Now, NATO said a lot yesterday in their final communique from the 75th NATO summit. They said that Russia alone bears sole responsibility for the war of aggression in Ukraine. We will never, they said, recognize the illegal annexation to include Crimea of Ukrainian territory. So those are big words, very powerful words, right? Never. In terms of Ukraine's future, they said that Ukraine's future is irreversibly in NATO. Irreversibly in NATO. Irreversibly in NATO, they will never recognize the illegally annexed territories. Big words, strong words. Here's 40 billion euros through 2025. Okay, that's a serious check to write. Here's a permanent representative in Kyiv for the bridge to membership, to facilitate the bridge to membership. Well, Jerry, you probably shouldn't be here then, because we're all in on NATO. I don't know what your problem is with that. But I'll tell you what my problem is with all of this. There's money through 2025, that's it. There's no long-term commitment. Then there's the question of the actual path into NATO. Where is that? There's very little talk of that. And so while this all sounds good and it looks good on paper and it makes for a great headline, it is lacking a certain substance that I would like to see it have, like a path to membership. And why is Germany, of all countries, who was brought into NATO when it was partitioned, when it was still technically in a state of war with the USSR, why are they the holdups? They should understand it better than anybody else. Xenia, the electricity is terrible. We only have power for 6 hours today. And it was it's a real problem for me. Mostly because it's 95 fucking degrees, 35 Celsius. And there is no air conditioning. So it's a problem. In that final communique from NATO, there were also some sparks with the Chinese. NATO very clearly said that though Putin alone bears the responsibility for this war of aggression in Ukraine, he could not pull it off without the economic and material support of the Chinese. And they said China providing the critical chipsets and technology to build Russian weapons is the same as China selling Russia lethal aid. It's the same, and China should be treated the same for it. The Chinese, for their part, weren't having any of it. They said that this kind of talk from NATO was dangerous and motivated or had sinister motivations. Sinister. They refused to acknowledge that they were in any way supporting Putin's war of aggression in Ukraine. And they thought that pointing at them as if they were responsible was inappropriate, completely inappropriate. Jake Sullivan fired back that basically what I said before, that providing the materials to build the weapons is about the same as building the weapons yourself. Yeah, Bobby, I don't know what to do about decoupling from China, but we have economic power there. You know, look, Americans, if you just stop buying anything that says made in China, it'll have an impact. Yeah. Just boycott all things made in China. It's hard to do. You'll be surprised at how hard it is to do. But give it a try. It's time for the American consumer to leverage his power in the world. All right. So the U.S. announced that it is to deploy long range, I think long range, these might be medium range. Tomahawks, are they PT, are Tomahawks, what did they say? Tomahawks, hypersonic missiles, and something called a SAM 9, I think, something like that. Are they long range? Well, anyway, the U.S. is to deploy new missiles to Germany, which it has not done since the Cold War. And they will not be stationed in Germany and Poland until 2026. This freaked Russia out. Everybody had something to say. Peskov had something to say. The new defense secretary had something to say. The Russian ambassador to the United States said that the U.S. has taken a disastrous military path and that Washington's insatiable need to display its military superiority is on display. So it's nice to hear a Russian official acknowledge that the United States is militarily superior and that we like to put it on display. So that was certainly a nice acknowledgement to get, I thought. But there is a guy over at the Telegraph, the London Telegraph, they do the Ukraine the Latest podcast, guy named Dominic Nichols, who was a former tanker for the Royals. And he had this to say. I thought this was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard in political commentary about this war. He called them Schrodinger's missiles. He said that the U.S. placing conventional weapons in Germany is obviously escalatory and a dangerous path to be on. While Russia's nuclear missiles in Belarus, apparently, it's just what friends do. And I thought that that was such a beautiful, beautiful sentiment on the unrelenting hypocrisy and schizophrenia of the Russian mindset that I wanted to call it out. Hey, Kyle, how you doing? There's already a replacement for the Tomahawks. Why can't Ukraine strike Belarus? Well, they don't have any real reason to. Right? I mean, they're busy with real threats that are coming at them. There's no real threat coming from Belarus. Last thing here, and then we'll go to questions. The Moscow Times. Today, I'd like to congratulate the Moscow Times. Today, they received the distinction from the Moscow Prosecutor's Office as being officially labeled an undesirable extremist, and one other thing, subversive maybe, something like that. So congratulations, Moscow Time. If the Moscow Prosecutor's Office is after you, you are doing something right, my friends. Wear this like a badge of honor. China has troops in Belarus doing training exercises, right? Yep, Bobby, they do. There's one company, so somewhere, around 110, 130 guys, something like that. So few guys, they all came in on one plane, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a single company. As opposed to, say, I want to say seven brigades that the U.S. rotates with all of their equipment in and out of Europe every 9 months. Let me repeat that. The U.S. rotates, if I am not mistaken, 7 brigades in and out of Europe every 9 months, along with all their equipment. And so, you know, so nobody should be upset. Everybody should be thinking to themselves, wow, I hope those Chinese guys have a great time in Belarus. I mean, they might never get out of China again, right? This might be the biggest trip of their lives. So, good for them. They're up around Brest on the Polish border, as I understand it, doing some anti-terror exercises. The entire Belarusian army is only 60,000 guys, plus 130 Chinese. That's 60,130. We have 120,000 NATO troops in Poland right now for Operation Steadfast Defender, our training exercise. I mean, look, they're a big country too. Yeah, they're a big country too. They're doing training. It's very exciting. If Xi is smart, he will start distancing from Putin. But Bobby, it looks like he's doubling down. It looks like he is doubling down. Dom is also wanted in Russia. Are you talking about Dom Nichols has a arrest warrant in Russia? Badge of honor. Oh, Z is profiting big time from the war. Really? I did not know that about that guy. That's awesome. Thanks. Yeah, anybody that doesn't listen to Ukraine the Latest podcast, look, if it's a choice between Ukraine the Latest and me, please pick me. But Ukraine the Latest, those guys, they really are great. I would not understand the conflict the way that I think I do if it weren't for them. So I'm really appreciative of their work. And when Dom Nichols said that today, I literally laughed out loud. Cackling alone in the dark in my apartment, trying to stay cool. It did not go well. None of it went well. Are they on TikTok? Annette, I don't think so. I watch them on the TubeUs. Maybe Xi is siding with Putin to long-term weaken Russia. Yeah, Bobby, I think he absolutely is. Russia's completely dependent on Beijing now. Beijing grabbed some land that belonged to Russia, and Russia didn't say a word. Kremlin did not raise a fuss at all. Did not raise a fuss. Hey, Yulia, how you doing? Everybody, Yulia in Ukraine is here. Say hello. If you don't follow Yulia in Ukraine, you should give her a follow. She's a local person who is out west somewhere now, not in town, but is a Ukrainian, so local person. And right now is in an airport, so you're not in the country then. You're not actually in Ukraine, Yulia, in Ukraine. It's a little disconcerting. So absolutely, China wants North Manchuria back. China wants Vladivostok back. China wants the resources of the Arctic in Siberia. You can be sure that China wants this conflict to continue until Russia is too weak to do anything but exist as a satellite state of Beijing. With friends like that, who needs enemies, huh? So that's where Russia's at, and its relationship with Beijing, in my opinion. It's hardly a friends without limits. It's a, I'm using you as long as I have to until I can stab you in the back, just like with the, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, or the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, whichever it was, where the Nazis and the Soviets split Poland down the middle and worked beautifully together like two fascist regimes you would expect to, until the Germans turned their knives on their former allies. Hey, Dano, how you doing, pal? So, guys, I was late getting to the live. I apologize. Again, I want to thank, we had a great series of live supporters this week. Richard Van Scooter, Arne B., who is here, Leo Ring, Fitz, that's Dark Irish there, Eli, and Ballerina. And tomorrow night, Cynthia is our sponsor for tomorrow night. So I am looking for sponsors for next week's live. The link is in the description. PayPal me there if anybody wants a live sponsorship. I'm getting the July video sponsorships done. I just started on those. I don't normally do any kind of fundraising. That's not something I want to be involved in or known for. It's too easy for scammers to come along, right? That kind of thing. It's just too easy. And I don't want to have to apologize to anybody here for getting sucked into some scam where the money disappeared. Thanks, Arne. So that's why I don't do it. However, for it's more than 9 months now, over a year. For over a year, I've been able to participate in a very small way with the Zampo Tech guys. These guys provide all kinds of resources to the front line, particularly trucks and tires. And right now they are trying to salvage, and repurpose 2 Humvees. You might have seen the video of me taking a ride on one of them through the woods last week. So there's 2 Humvees. They need some money to get them fixed up. For the 4 largest donors to the campaign, they will send you this awesome, it's like a candle holder, right? You put a candle inside of it, it lights up. But it's made out of an Mi-17 helicopter grenade shell, or an Mi-24, I think, helicopter grenade shell, or an Mi-8, something like that. Right, so it's made out of these they're so freaking cool. And not only that, look, the guys need Humvees at the front line. I mean, that's a vehicle that's in need right now. And there's 2 of them that are just about done. They just need a little money to do it. So it's zampotech.org. And then go to the English language page and check it out. These guys do great work. They do great work. So take a look at that. You're absolutely right, Yulia. Right, and I'm not in any way disparaging anybody that's doing any of that. I'm not. I would just like to see state level fixes instead of unregulated. That's it, Annette. That's the correct spelling, zampotech.org, correct. And I have a video on this too. Thanks, Fitz. I have a video on this. I have a couple videos, right? I have the video where I'm out in the woods with those guys looking at the rocket. I have the video where I'm on the back of the Humvee going through the woods. And then I have the video about the actual sponsorship or fundraiser. I sure would like to see those boys get the money to get those Humvees done. They're awful close. They're awful close, and they don't need much. I think if just one person out there had $5,000, they said if anybody gave $5,000, they would take them out in the field in the Humvees, just like they did me. But you got to get to Kyiv, and I don't really recommend that right now. Thanks, PT. I'm trying to do more of them. Tomorrow I'm going over to the left bank. I have a barbecue to go to. I'll be with a bunch of Ukrainians. Maybe I'll try to do some live there, or maybe we can. Maybe I'll do some interviews with some folks there. We'll see. And Yulia, in fact, one of the vehicles that they're refurbishing is actually, I don't know, it was some kind of like Korean vehicle where they stripped the back off of it and they opened it up and they made it so that you could fit 4 wounded on there. Like you could evacuate 4 wounded from there, or you could use it as a supply truck. And so that's the kind of thing that they're doing. Yeah, the left bank, PT. I live on the right bank, but my buddy who's having the barbecue is on the left bank. That's from the perspective of a traveler traveling downstream. Thanks, Julia. Oh, yeah, Julia, you should get on this. You should do a little promo of this. If you hit me up, I'll put you in touch with Alex. Alex, the guy who does it. Or if you're in town next week, I'm supposed to go to Alex and his wife Maria's for some barbecue. Why don't you come with us? Left bank is where fighting is at. No, sir, not here. You're not wrong, Bobby. If you follow the river all the way down to Kherson, you're correct. Then it becomes the dividing line between occupied territory and non-occupied territory. But that is only in the far, far south where that's the case. Otherwise, the Dnipro is pretty much under the control, both sides, both banks of Kyiv. The city is truly divided. It's divided by a river. Yeah, Yulia, hit me up. I'm down. Weebo. Hey, Weebo. Oh my God, it's got to be like, it's still over 80 degrees in here. I mean, there's no breeze. The night air is still and sultry. There's an oppressive, we had a thunderstorm today, so then it got super humid. Oh, I know I shouldn't complain. I'm not in a trench and nobody is shooting at me right now. And so all of that is to the good. I do need a shower. It will be my 3rd one today when I take it, by the way. Like, that's not even a joke. It will be my 3rd. What I need is a bath. I'm thinking of filling the tub with cold water and just simmering. And it's record-breaking heat. Bobby, it's always 72 and sunny in San Diego. That's why San Diego is the perfect place to live. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Fitz has been bitching about the weather in that. So I know that New Jersey's hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Yeah, 37, 30. I mean, that's tomorrow. They're saying it's going to be a record at 35 for tomorrow, which is about 95 Fahrenheit. Looking forward to winter, cool, cool. Well, with a name like Cool, Cool, one would think so. All right, ladies and gentlemen, other non-binary folks, it is 1:30 in the morning for me. I apologize for running late tonight. Let me know. Does anybody have any final thoughts, questions, comments before we call it a night? Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Cheyenne. Thanks, Dark Irish. we have power right now. Like this is what woke me up is the lights came on. We have power right now. So there's a couple things I want to get done while the power is on. So if you're a Patreon member, look, hopefully tomorrow morning, there'll be a new video there for you. I'm going to try to get that done right now. But boy, it is frustrating when you are in the middle of uploading something and the power goes. That's exactly what happened today. Anyway, all right, kids. Big thanks to the moderator group, Cheyenne, Vanetta, PT, John Williams, Jay, and Travis. Big thanks to the sponsors of the live this week. The guys who sponsored the 4th of July party last week, Richard Van Scooter, Leo Ring, and Arne B, who mentioned just now he upped his Patreon support. Thank you, Arne. And then we had Fitz and Ballerina and Eli. Thank you, guys. And tomorrow we'll have Cynthia. Big thanks to Nightshade, who runs the Peter's Peeps group over on the Book of Faces. And big thanks to Lars, who's got the Discord server. And big thanks especially, of course, to Vanetta Larrett, who manages the Google Docs share where you can get our no-fly zone letter. And with that, I will bid you a fond adieu. Adieu, adieu, adieu to you and you and you. Make it a great day, guys.